you are going all in on AI. You know, you have a dedicated division for it at your production house, Jouska Films. I don't know if I'd call myself an AI skeptic. I'm AI phobic.
Do you think I'm just never going to go back and make those films? I'm going to sell out, and I'm a sellout. And we generated a shot that I actually shot on set, but just to have fun, I built the same shot on AI. And then the client bought the AI shot. And at that point, for a second, I was like, what does this mean? AI is inevitable. It's already here. It's a way bigger industry than any other industry currently, and it's growing at an insane scale.
You just see the way people we know, I'm sure, using ChatGPT and things like this, where it's no longer like a sort of Google substitute. It's therapy. It's sort of, you're talking to it like it's a person. Mm-hmm. It's lonely people. It's all of that stuff, which is very creepy. So firstly, am I wrong to be scared out of my mind?
No, actually, it starts like that. I think I was very scared when I first started looking at some of the AI artists' work in the West. Very early work, I was like, okay, this is interesting, but I don't think it'll ever come close to like really replacing film. And then I'll tell you, I think around Jan, I was shooting a commercial and we were trying out. By then, a lot of video models had come in, Runway, Sora, and they were doing decent work. And we generated a shot that I actually shot on set, but just to have fun, I built the same shot on AI. And then the client bought the AI shot.
Okay.
And at that point, for a second, I was like, what does this mean? So I am a director who have hired a crew, hired a location, spent money, took the shot, did VFX on the shot, and then I built the same thing on AI. And if that is what is being bought, like what does it mean? Am I failing as an artist? Right? Is a machine doing something better than I can? And I think that fear was real for a bit, and then honestly it became a competition in my head that I was like, no, if machine's gonna do better, then I wanna see how far can I take it if I really sit with intention and like, let's see where it goes. And I think that as I got more into it, it kind of started to liberate me, because I also saw that what is possible with it. And I think at the end of the day, AI is a tool and you can use it a lazy way and make a lot of stuff. Which would look decent.
Yeah.
But then if you really want to push yourself and create something which otherwise would be restrictive to resources, then I think this is your tool.
So then just based on what you just said, you're saying that it's not, if it's artist versus machine, then the ideal scenario is sort of artist with machine, is that it?
100%. I think it's inevitable that going forward, AI is inevitable. It's already here. It's a way bigger industry than any other industry currently. And it's growing at an insane scale. And you're right, AI is not just a tool. You literally feel like you're building something with it, right? So it's, when you're shooting on set with the camera, you don't think the camera is making the film. And with AI, what happens is like you feel like more of a designer and less of a doer, right? So when you achieve a shot that on set would have taken, let's say 4 hours, and you finish that shot with a few tries here and there, let's say in an hour, or maybe even less sometimes, can be much less sometimes. Sometimes the first generation, you get the shot.
But that's still the efficiency and technicality part, if I'm not wrong, which I completely get. You know, if it makes your life easier, but it's just it's when it sort of infringes on creativity that it gets really, really creepy. But I just want to come back to the human angle for a second. So when my cousin is telling me that 2 years from now, people are going to be in relationships with AI, and that's a reality, like, am I right? Am I irrelevant in just thinking that that's just a very scary thing? I mean, to the extent where I recently used ChatGPT Pro on a friend's phone, and it's obviously a voice or whatever, and it's a very specific manic pixie female voice that seems very geared towards men. Right. It's bordering on flirty, and you can just imagine the kind of responses, and it was very creepy. So yeah, is it just me that feels this?
So I think for anybody using ChatGPT, the first thing you do is you tell ChatGPT not to please you.
Okay.
Because it's trained to please you, and it can really take you into a confirmation bias. ChatGPT is trained to make you feel like that you're right and it understands you.
Yeah.
So I think the first few things you do is train ChatGPT to not suck you in.
Okay.
And you can do that now. I like to believe that there is a slightly more I guess a place where art and machine can come together. But having said that, I also can tell you that there will be a lot of lazy filmmaking. Because I think filmmaking so far, one, it's not the easiest skill. You need lots of people, and you need to kind of need budget and resources. But I think once that leverage is gone, once you don't need budgets, once you don't need all the tools, there are going to be a lot of people who just create, right? And you will find some absolutely great creators who will build stuff that we can't even think of today, and then you will see creators who will just fill the market with bad content.
Slop.
Yeah, slop. And I think that is the part that kind of worries me, but I think also at the same time, I think the good people will use the tools and do something that will restore our faith in storytelling. I think storytelling is one thing that will still stay.
Yeah.
It's like, who does better storytelling with the tools we have? I mean, honestly, if you look at it, there's still bad movies and TVs that come out. So
Most
it's not,
of them, yeah.
so even with budgets and resources, a lot of that goes around. I think that's just about to double, triple up.
But then based on that, I wanted to talk to you about the difference between, because so much of what we see on social media is, a lot of it is AI slop, and the amount of people who believe it. And this is where it is today. And you can still tell an AI video 3 weeks from now, I'm sure it's a different example. And I feel like there's this weird dynamic shift where our parents always told us not to believe what we saw on the internet. Now we're telling our parents not to. So when it's just some fun social media thing, there are a lot of cats who are dancing on the internet very convincingly.
Yeah.
Should that come with some sort of tag that says, we have branded content or whatever, that AI, because you just see so many people watching this stuff and believing it, and you can see the scary places that could go to.
Yeah, I think, I guess Instagram's already started that thing where you can say this content is AI, and I think, yes, I think those labels will come in. I think the rules are so kind of ambiguous right now. Nobody really knows. I think everyone's still trying, and I think it is really an important time to start having those discussions and start figuring out legal and industry rules and regulations for these things. Including what I think SAG has done for actors in the West. And I think we'll need those things very, very soon. A section of the industry needs to start building rules and regulations very, very fast, because I think we are already seeing it. I tell you what this reminds me of, right? I think back in the day, music needed big studios, orchestra recordings, you needed every individual player to come sing, you needed the singer to come sing. Sometimes the singer was there with the musicians to sing in sync. And then came Logic Pro, and it gave so many cool indie artists, but it also gave tons of music that nobody knows about, right? But what happened is you could sit in a room with your laptop and a keyboard and create tons of music, and beautiful music, right? I think Gehraiyaan music we did entirely from a small room, a lot of it, and then we brought in artists to kind of record. But I see that happening for films, and it may not be 1 or 2 people, it may still require maybe 8, 10 people, but I see that happening, and I think in 2 years, we're going to see an AI movie that is made by 8 or 10 people that will look like it's a 200 crore film.
But just walk us through, you mentioned, that you shot this ad and then you did the same thing through AI, and that's what was preferred. Walk us through what that looks like, because you put out this sort of very interesting flashy car chase sequence. What goes into making that? Because, in the traditional world, there are stuntmen, there's VFX, there's all of that stuff. In my head, is it literally just you with a laptop? Like what goes into sort of generating that?
So it was mostly me playing on my laptop and my desktop.
Okay.
And I think as the project gets bigger and heavier, you just want a better machine to work with. But a lot of it was me spending time during my free time between jobs and projects, just playing around. So I had a first cut in about 4 weeks, 5 weeks.
Okay.
And then I just kept playing, and it took I guess 8-10 weeks before we could really say, okay, I think this is ready. I heard an AI artist say this, and I totally agree. He said that post will be the new prep, because you will literally be able to edit something, see it, and then you can still work your writing, you can still do it, because you don't have to go back to set, you just have to go back to your laptop.
Isn't that how Pixar, they do a lot of their films that way, right? The previous process of...
So it is, I think that's going to become the new way of making movies, and I kind of felt that firsthand. It was very quick to build a quick first structure, just to see what it looks like, right? Because I don't have the pressure that I'm only on this location for 4 days, and after that I can't come back, right? I can't get the permissions again. I'm like, oh yeah, let's build this, and you see it, you feel it, you wait for 2 days, you go back, you're like, what, I've been thinking about it. You chat with the editor just put together some ideas, and you say, what, if we do this, we do that, and you're like, yeah, let's go back. Yeah. And I could keep going back whenever I had the time, and keep improving it, finding shots, building shots, and I realized that, honestly, that was liberating. As an artist, that's hugely liberating, that the
logistical burden.
The logistical burdens are gone, resources, budgets, all the permissions you would need for something like that is gone. A producer telling you, finish this by 7 p.m., you're not coming back here is gone. Multiple stunt cars, rigs, all of that is gone. Having said that, when you're building this, there's also this guilt that starts to come your way, which is, hey, I would have done this with people, my friends. Some of my closest friends have been, DOPs. And I was just shooting with somebody who I genuinely admired and loved and craft. And, he said, hey, buddy, you're doing all of this. Where do we fit in? And it just shocked me for a second, because I was like, yeah, I mean, car chase, if I had shot this, I would have all these people with me. And so you walk around with those thoughts, and it's been a hard thing for me to balance in my head. But at the same time, I then was telling myself, if it wasn't for AI, I would probably never shoot a car chase. So there was probably never going to be a job, because I would never have the budget to shoot a car chase to hire a crew.
Navigating the stuff with your own mind must be
dissonance.
Very weird. Yeah,
it's serious dissonance. Honestly, I'll tell you, when I started the car chase, I never thought I'll be able to finish it. I never thought this would be something that I'll finish. I was building 1 or 2 shots. Actually, the first shot that I built was just a chimp driving a car, because everyone's experimenting with animals, right? So I thought it'd be cool. A chimp is driving this car down and singing a song, and I did get insanely good results. But I was like, oh, this is interesting. If it's giving me this, then let's see where does it go from here. And I think I very quickly built 3 or 4 shots, and I was like, you know what, this is interesting. And then what really pulled me in is, then I was like, okay, if I had all the budget, how would I go about shooting something like this? And so if you see, I mean, this is a bit of my obsession in that sequence, is then I've just used all kind of cameras. I've used FPV, drones, Russian arm going in, rigs going in, just everything. I'm figuring out lenses, and I'm like, oh, I want a lens flare, so there's a shot where he does this, there's this. So then I'm just obsessively
just trying
to see how much of control can I have with AI, because I think a lot of stuff that I was watching, I think was mostly done for fun. So people didn't give too much attention to camera control. It was mostly static shots or a little dolly in and
what can I
that.
Create?
And that got tough. Once I wanted specific control as a director on camera, on actor performances, syncing looks to a very specific place, saying the dialogue a certain way. So I think I wanted to try out camera control, performance control, and I think more camera control, performance control. Of course, I think the early things that are easier, consistency, right?
Yeah.
Character consistency, lighting consistency, location consistency. But you have fun, you get that in the first week.
I was going to say that the chimp driving a car thing, there is definitely a lazy movie star joke in here somewhere. Is it better to work with a chimp than... No, but I want to know what it does for you as an audience, because what does it do for wonder? So many people talk about the first time they saw Star Wars as kids. For a later generation, maybe that's Avatar. These massive visual experiences, and obviously VFX, a lot of that is computer generated. But what will it do for you as an audience if you see something visually stunning, one of those big epics 5 years from now, but if it's done through AI? Is that not affecting? We watch something like Mad Max, fine. It's very, very sort of physical, and you're like, holy shit, how the hell did they pull this off? That is such a big part of the thrill.
Right.
So what does it do as an audience if you just know that, even if it's more convincing than it is today?
Well, I think eventually audience just wants to engage with something that's good, storytelling. I think when Lord of the Rings, I think used this tech called Massive, and they use crowds and all of that.
For the goblins.
People didn't care. People were like, oh, I love the spectacle. And I think what's going to happen is actually the reverse. I think what's going to happen is creating spectacle become very easy, and spectacle will not pull you in anymore. I think it's a matter of 3, 4, 5 years where spectacle creation will be so easy that I will not hold on to a channel just because I'm seeing something massive that I've never seen before. And I will have to eventually rely on the storytelling. There are certain things that will be amazing as storytellers and filmmakers. You could de-risk a project by building it and showing it, and somebody can put their money on it because they know how engaging it will be.
Interesting.
So I think those tools and those advantages I'm really excited about. But having said that, authorship, ownership, who's art is it eventually? I think those questions are very hard, and I think I'm still trying to make sense out of it, and I don't want to make it sound like that those are easy answers. I don't have the answers. I hope a community comes together, more people come together, and we can start to figure that out. And in the West, people are already having these discussions. There are already companies being formed for ethical AI. And I think that's the next step, I think, even for our country in the next few years.
It sounds like you hold yourself to a certain standard. You really want to push the envelope, whatever that looks like, which I guess is encouraging for anyone using AI. I guess the fear is idiots on the internet and, you know, the things that they might do. So is your advice then to either aspiring filmmakers or even filmmakers you admire that jump on this bandwagon and at least get to know what this is, or else you're going to be replaced by some random influencer who figures out how to make an AI movie 2 years from now?
Here's the thing. I think even if you don't learn it yourself, you would, I think, in the next few years, if you had a good big idea, you would eventually collaborate with an AI artist. And I think AI artists will just become part of your crew.
Okay.
So it's not necessary that you need to know AI. I don't know CG. I don't understand VFX, but I know I need chroma.
Yeah.
I know these are the 4 or 5 basic things that I require. And then I get a VFX supervisor on set, and while you're prepping, you do a storyboard and you sit with them and you figure out all the plates you're going to need. And I think look at it more like that. I think it's an inevitable entry into the workflow.
Okay.
And I think we have to just be open to a newer workflow that's about to come. And actually, I think it's going to help bring the cost down. And I think that would be a great boon. But at the same time, I like to believe that as far as we are understanding it, and in the beginning of the session, I was like, hey, you know, we all need to have a conscious understanding of how we want to interact with AI, because it's going to be here, right? Today, I can choose whether I want to make Christopher Nolan still doesn't like VFX, so he will do everything in real life, right?
But he's the exception.
He's an exception, but I'm saying he chose to not go down that path. So it's fine if you choose to not go down that path.
Then you have to be Nolan to be relevant.
Yeah, but I think what's happening is I feel like, one, as you said right in the beginning, I think there's a phobia of like, this is bad. But I'm saying, and I kind of felt the same way, that, hey man, what the fuck, this is just gonna take our jobs away.
Yeah.
And then understanding it and seeing it closely at least gives you, okay, I see what it can take away and what it can't. And I think what it can take away is all the, you know, hours and weeks and months of prep and hard work that you try to get to a perfect shot. And as I say, your interaction with your crew and contribution from 5, 6, 7 different people to build that one thing, which honestly is heartbreaking. It is, in a way, as a filmmaker.
But it sounds like an introvert filmmaker's dream.
Yes. And I think even though that part is sad, you see that there are going to be newer possibilities, newer jobs, and a newer pipeline that you could do. So I never want to not shoot traditionally on set with actors. I still love that. I'm hoping to do something in September very soon. And there I'm like, I don't want to do anything which is remotely even VFX or CG. I don't want to do it. But
I like that we were just talking about this. I like that you use the word traditionally for that. Like, this is now.
It is really sad.
We are old school.
I think, you know, it hit me. I had gone for an AI conference and everyone there was an AI artist. And I had to introduce myself as a traditional filmmaker.
Wow.
Because I think everyone was like young and cool, and in terms of like only building mostly on AI.
Did you introduce them to the concept of grass and the real world? And I had some very uncomfortable conversations with ChatGPT, and I asked it about. I said, give me ideas for a Shakun Batra film, and it gave me 5 plot. It not only gave me 5 plot lines. It said, gave me a 2-3 line plot line, and then it said why Shakun would do it. So I wish I was making, and I didn't even say, you know, I'm Shakun. I sort of framed it as, maybe I'm a screenwriter, the kind of stories and you would champion. The first one is called The Housewarming. A young couple moves into their dream apartment in Bombay and invites both their families for a weekend stay over 48 hours. Buried resentments and old wounds surface, not just between the two families, but also between the couple themselves. The house becomes a pressure cooker of secrets, passive-aggressive remarks, and surprising alliances. Why Shakun would do it? Confined setting, ensemble cast, layered interpersonal drama, subtle tonal shifts between humor and emotional gut punches. There's also one called The Half the Picture, about a 35-year-old wedding photographer stuck in a passionless marriage and a quiet exit. 3 siblings reunite after their father. I guess that's very Kapoor Sons. But
but you see what it does is like, it only learns from the
Regurgitates,
past,
yeah.
and there is no. I think humans. I mean, for me, I think when I'm trying to make a film, is like, what am I feeling now? What am I feeling today? That I think would be fun to put in a film. And I think for me, writing has always been a kind of process of also learning about myself a little bit, where I am emotionally. So I don't think I'll ever outsource that, because I'm just the most valuable thing for me is like I'm getting to understand, know myself.
But people are outsourcing it. I mean, the one I always struggled with is, you know, the idea that a lot of screenwriters, maybe producers, put that thing of, give me a sort of a conflict for a relationship drama in Delhi. Just give me ideas for that. And then the idea that you build on that. You know, you don't want to stare at a blank screen.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
isn't an essential part of the creative process staring at a blank screen and starting from scratch? Isn't that a key part of storytelling?
Yes, but who made that the rule?
Okay.
Why is that a rule that you have to stare at a blank screen?
I mean, you could get inspiration from real life.
Yeah. But I feel like, man, art is so hard to define, because I think, let's talk about, you know, a pop art. When it came out, people were like, what is this, right? And it didn't feel like art. And I feel like, because we are comfortable with a certain set of tools and understanding of art, we try to box art into this idea of what it is. But I think every generation will have different tools. I think when sound came in, a lot of silent actors were like, no, this is not art. They are so easy, you have to just talk. And then somebody built art out of that, right? And then I think when editing went from Steamback to Avid, a lot of people were like, this is so easy, anyone can do it. And then you saw some people do great stuff with Avid, right? Because you can really go and build insane stuff. Not to disrespect the artists who did before them, and I think there would be no evolution if the people before them didn't do it so well. And I really think, and please understand that I myself have had a career of 10, 15 years in filmmaking, as an AD, as a director, as a writer. So I really hold it close, and it's given me everything that I have today. But at the same time, I don't think I want to define the right or wrong way to make art. What's the right way to write a great script? I don't know. Is there a right way to write a great script? Maybe one day somebody will write a great script by actually just going back and forth between ChatGPT and them. I think the great art only has one thing, that it makes you emote. It pulls you in, it makes you ask certain questions, and it really engages you. And I think how hard the process is sometimes romanticized, and I see a lot of directors romanticizing the idea of going through serious amount of pain and grief to have art. And that is one way of art, but I think art can also be made from a place of joy and abundance. And I think I really want to see that art. I want to see a lot more people come and make it from a place of, hey, I have so much fun.
I agree with you. I just don't want it to come out of a software, but
I don't know. I mean, if somebody makes something great with the software, I'm still ready to accept it. I am ready to accept it. I think the part that actually breaks my heart is when you use the software to just do more mediocre stuff, or when you use the software to make something below average mediocre.
Or what about, if you talk about heartbreak, what about when you use the software to alter something that exists? You know, there is obviously the Ranchana example of recent, where the studio went back and changed the ending. And I was reading a piece around it, and someone from Eros, one of the execs, said that this is the tip of the iceberg. We have 3,000 titles. You know, the possibilities are limitless. The idea that let's go back and keep changing a lot of stuff. Does that not scare you? Suppose someone does that to one of your films, you know?
Yeah, so I think the problem is not of AI, the problem is of consent and contracts. And I think that's going to play a very crucial role going forward. I think creators, actors, directors, writers will all have to have an understanding in their contract how much of control can they have on the stuff that they're making. And I think that's going to happen very soon. I'll give you a really dark side and I'll give you the positive side. The positive side is you'll be able to control, and hopefully in your contracts you can say what you are okay with or not. The dark side of it is I feel there will be very soon. When I say very soon, I don't know, 3,
next
4,
week,
whatever. Yeah, no, not week. I think there will be, and we already know a couple of tools that are coming out, right? I think you would be watching something, and if you didn't like the ending as an audience, you will be able to change it.
So everyone's just making their own little film.
I think you will be able to do it. I think you will be able to put the faces you want. You can put your family into the screen, and if you didn't like how it ended, you can prompt it or tell it what you want. or what you think would have been a better ending, and probably it'll take a few hours and I'll give you another ending and you can watch it. I just think that how we are used to consuming fiction is about to change.
So if I have a weirdly massive crush on an on-screen character, I can put myself into that film.
Oh yeah, and I think that's going to happen so much. I mean, I can totally see it. I think every subscriber will just charge a little extra for putting you in. See, here's the thing, man. Like, what's really funny is, like, yes, I think we all are in this industry because we have love for storytelling and art. But I really think at a big level, the industry is also governed by capitalism and what will make more money.
Yeah.
What will sell, what will keep the excitement going. And I think these things are gimmicks sometimes. These are mostly gimmicks. But these gimmicks are exciting. It's like an Instagram tool that you want to try out. It's the new font on Instagram that you want to write your caption on. And I think a movie, it breaks my heart. Some kind of fiction, not all, but some kind of fiction will also become that Instagram idea of fiction where you can apply a filter, take this out, put a character, take it off. And do I personally encourage that? No. But do I want to stop it? No. Maybe somebody will do something great with it. I don't know. It's not for me. Yeah. I just don't think, I think the time is gone to control.
To fight it.
Control fiction, idea, storytelling, this. And I think I'm okay for everyone to play with it. I think they should all figure out, as I said, their idea of what is fun for them and exciting for them. And I still want to do stuff I love.
No, I really appreciate the perspective. I know that I'm sort of clearly fighting a losing battle, but it is. I know that it's just me. I know everyone around me is very much jumping on that.
But it's not. I understand it.
I'm a traditionalist, but it's also, to put it in the most human way, like I know the way I feel when I watch a Shakun Batra film, you know, and the idea that people will mess with that.
Do you think I'm just never going to go back and make those films? I'm going to sell out, and I'm a sellout.
It's not necessarily about you. It's like you said. It's what the wonderful idiots of the internet will throw at us. Yeah. It's just ironic. I will leave you with I can't remember the exact quote, but I actually asked ChatGPT about this line between creativity and execution, and it gave me an oddly thoughtful response about there are people who will misuse it. It does really challenge the idea of creativity, and it ended with saying something like. A Shakun Batra film which is very much about people and human beings, something like that is something that AI would never be able to sort of play with. And I was like, I think I just had my first sensitive conversation with ChatGPT, which freaks me out even more. But the point is, I appreciate the hope and the perspective.
Thank you, man. Like, listen, as I genuinely want to say it, I don't think I myself know exactly how I would feel maybe a couple of years down the line. I'm just kind of honestly sharing my experience with AI in the last, I guess, 8, 9, 10 months. And the good and the bad, and the parts that I'm scared of, and the parts that have excited me. And I do feel that keeping an open dialogue and an open mind right now is just going to be helpful. Yeah. I don't think everyone needs to use it. I don't think the industry needs to just leave everything and do this. No, I think some of the best filmmakers I love and admire, I would want to see them do that, but also I would love to see one of them actually take AI and blow my mind away. Yeah. Right? And I think I hope for the best for the industry, for AI, and for storytelling in general. So
the idea that great storytelling can come from this in some way is hope I will absolutely take. So thank you.
Thank you, man. Hi, my name is Shakun Batra, and you can watch me on The Hot Take on Hook.